cannot believe that we have so many people here for this amazing event. I just want to say thank you all from the bottom of my heart. So I actually want to talk about a couple things. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but for this event, we want to make it as intersectional as possible. And so we've talked about teen suicides. We've talked about mass shootings. We've talked about poor gun safety. We've talked about domestic violence. And so I want to talk about mental health. And I want to talk about race. So first, for me, my day job, I am a caregiver. I take care of people with mental and physical disabilities. And so I cannot begin to explain how frustrating it is when I hear people say, we need to take guns out of the hands of the mentally ill. Why? Because the mentally ill are more likely the victims of gun violence and they're the perpetrators. It frustrates me that one of the first bills that our president has signed, and that's the first time I've ever mentioned him as our president, so let me take a second here. One of the first things that he signed into law was a bill allowing people with severe mental illness to buy a gun. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the business that I work in, people with severe mental illness are declared legally incompetent. So what that means is that legally they are considered minors. So these are people who can't write a check. They can't sign anything. When they go to the doctor, they need a guardian to fill their paperwork, but now they can go out and buy a gun. And so I want us to make sure that we are not stigmatizing people with mental illness because they are the victims more than they are the perpetrators, for one. And two, we need to make sure that we're protecting everybody in our society regardless of their ability to participate. Second thing that I want to talk about is race. And this is often a theme that I feel is left out of these debates, and I'm so glad that the Parkland students have been calling out the mainstream media about this issue. I didn't realize that Parkland was 25% African American. I didn't realize that because of the press coverage that Parkland has got has just been mainly the white students and Emma Gonzalez. And so I think that it is a shame for people to be leaving out students of color when we have students in Oakland, we have students in Chicago who can't go to school because they're being shut up in their schools. They're being shut up in their living rooms. They're being shut up on the way to the grocery store. We have kids. Exactly. The incident where in Sacramento, where we had an unarmed man trying to get into his grandparents' house who got shot up. We need to be talking about gun violence as it pertains to everybody. We need to be holding everybody accountable. So I actually don't remember his name, to be honest. Yeah. And yeah, that's shame on me, but at the same time, there are so many of these individuals that even for me, it's hard to keep track. There are so many names that we have to remember because so many people are being shot down for no good reason in this country that it's hard to keep track of all of them. And that is a shame. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Reno PD. They have made a great job of making sure that we are all safe. And I really want to give a shout out to all the good police officers that are out there. But there are a lot of bad ones. So I am actually a Nigerian American. And so my experience in this country is different from most African Americans because my parents actually came here of their own free will. And so I have to deal with the issues of gun violence because a bad cop can't tell the difference between Nakia and Uzomaka. They can't tell the difference between Deshaun and Chikeze. So I need to know how to protect myself if I get pulled over by the cops. I need to know, okay, so do I say yes, sir? Do I say no, sir? How do I respond? How do I make sure that I am being as amazing or as polite as I can be? Thank you. And it's it's a shame that we have to give our kids this additional talk, where we have to tell them about the birds and the bees, but then for black kids, we have to tell them about what to do when you get pulled over by the police. And so I would ask that when you guys go out there and vote, when you go out there and contact your elected representatives, that you keep in mind that gun violence is intersectional, and that every single one of our lives are important.